Some of the best minds in the world bringing you some of the best knowledge on TRS Clips. There was a moment when I was 14 years old where I almost died. And in my childhood, that was probably the closest I've ever felt to God. It kind of also changed my perception a little bit. Between 8th and 9th grade, I was surrounded by a lot of my friends who were very fascinated by atheism. And there was this cool guy group in class, and of course I was a part of it. Everyone was talking about atheism, and I just sat with that concept for a bit because I'd been brought up in a very spiritual family. And you're kind of experimenting with rebellion as a teenager. So I thought atheism, there is an argument for it. Like, I've not experienced God. I don't, it maybe it doesn't exist. Maybe it's only science and it's only what we are. And it's the world we know. Cut to this Jaipur trip where we were going from Jaipur to Ranthambore. I was sitting on the first seat of a bus. Okay. And there's people behind me. Everyone's playing these games, mafia and those kind of games in the bus. Someone's playing dumb charades. Someone's doing something else. I was just insanely sleepy that day for some reason. I had slept well, but I remember being really sleepy. So I didn't want to be a part of the game. I went to the first seat and sat right behind where the bus driver sits. Okay. Great kind of drive from Jaipur to Ranthambore. Feeling super sleepy. Myself and my vice principal went to sleep on the first seat. Okay. And while I'm at the peak of my sleep, I hear like screams behind me. Okay. And I hear some of my friends, I can identify their voices. And these girls behind me are going, oh, and I wake up with that. Okay. So my eyes open and I see a bus coming straight at us. Like, there's a bus right in front of me. The only thing that separates that bus from me is the bus driver. Our guy couldn't see the bus coming from the other side. It was trying to overtake a vehicle on the other side. And just when the buses were about to touch, our bus driver kind of turned the bus. So this other bus hit my bus or our bus behind.
Okay.
The impact was not head on, it was behind. What that led to was that our bus kind of lost control. Then the guy tried controlling it a bit and rammed into a tree. This happened over maybe 10 seconds. What I remember is I remember the scream. Okay. I don't know what happened to me, but it was one of those zones where everything slowed down a bit. I quickly looked behind to understand what's happening. Like, the moment I realized, oh, we're in an accident. So the moment he turned, my immediate impulse was to look behind. Maybe it's the martial arts at play where you're so aware of your body and your surroundings. So I looked behind. I saw that the people who were playing dumb charades, the other games, everyone was slightly injured. Someone had a cut on their face. Someone was bleeding from their mouth. Someone had a cut on their head. Nothing happened to me. But the second impact was about to happen. And I'm not making this up. And I'm not spoken about this online. The vice principal, she fell off her seat because of the first contact. And she was on the floor. And again, martial arts at play, probably God at play. I don't know what happened. I became hyper aware, and between the first and the second contact, there was about 4 seconds. I quickly went and kind of pushed her back on her seat. And then we crashed into the tree. The driver got very badly injured. He was rushed to a hospital. There was blood all over the front seat. The glass that separates me and the driver, it shattered, but I don't know how the glass didn't fall on me. It fell on him. Okay. And at that moment between those two crashes, that's why I became aware of God. I'm struggling to even talk about it. I don't know what I felt in that moment. I saw that my vice principal's safe on her seat. And I kind of kicked back in my senses, look behind, and all my friends are crying. People are bleeding. There's broken glass everywhere. Someone's fainted. I can see someone's fucking body, like, just lying down on the window. Okay, and then I turn around and I see I see a picture of Hanumanji, which for me that time was my image of God. It still is in many ways, but and I'm unscratched. Nothing. While I'm on the front seat of a bus, and even my vice principal is relatively unhurt. And she comes up to me and says, "Thank you, I realized what you did." Okay, and I got out of the bus, and there's another picture of Hanumanji again at a dhaba that we've crashed near. And the dhaba people are freaking out. They're like, "We just saw a huge accident. What is happening here?" I got out of the bus. I realized, oh wait, my friends are inside. Went and picked up one of my friends, got him out of the bus. Brought him out. People come out, everyone's bleeding. I don't know what got into me, but I went to a part of the dhaba that was like just empty, and I sat down and prayed. And my atheism died there. Like,
unbelievable.
There was not one atheist cell in my body after that. Like, what just happened here? My best friend cut his tongue in half. Someone else had to get stitches across their face. Someone else had a jaw injury which troubles them even today. Like, this was 14 years ago, 15 years ago. Nothing happened to me other than my atheism dying. And that's the closest I felt to God.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's amazing how you were so mindful, and you're still mindful. A lot of people forget these things. And this is what we call as divine grace. Like, everyone has divine grace. No one can explain how they got safely to work today. Why weren't they in that train accident? Why weren't they in that flight which crashed? It's divine grace. I was with a surgeon in New York a couple of days ago. Young guy. He's a pediatric transplant surgeon. So he does transplants on 2-year-olds and 1-year-olds and stuff. And he was saying, so we were talking about spirituality and God and stuff. I said, do you believe in God, spirituality and stuff? He said, Luke, I used to be the most egoistic surgeons. Most surgeons are egoistic is what he said. Because we're given that control, life and death in our hands. Saying every time I cut open a human body, all I see is the intelligence of God. Because as a surgeon, we know what we're doing is what we're doing, but we see the intelligence of the veins and the arteries coming in, pumping and saying, I just see God every time I open a body. You call it spiritual, you call it what you want, but that intelligence in us, even while we're all awake right now, there's no reason that our body has to be working every second of the day and night to keep us alive. That's intelligence. That is a superpower. So when people don't have answers for all of these things, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist just because we don't understand it. It doesn't mean just because people don't understand psychedelics doesn't mean that it isn't good. So understanding plays a huge role. And when you're mindful enough to see everything unexplained, how does this plant in a room create energy? How does the touch of someone that you love have a healing effect? How does the smile of a child melt you or make you feel so good? All of these are unexplained. Science cannot explain it. It's a superpower. And those who are humble and respectful of that superpower are protected and guided.
Thank you for watching this clip. If you want to learn more about this topic, we've curated a playlist just for you. And here's a link to the whole episode.